All right, everybody. That bumper music says it's time to come back from the break. My name is Rex Perry. I'm the host and creator of the show. It's called the Business to Business Network Show. We've been doing the show since 1999. And if anybody wants information, they can find us on an internet site, 123B like in business, Z like in zebra.com, 123BZ.com. And our next guest is Kent. Kent, give us your last name. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Great to chat with you, Rex. Like you said, my name is Kent. My last name is Groh, G-R-O-H. And I'm a licensed land surveyor and geospatial professional. And I've spent my 30-plus year career working at, let's call it the intersection of land, technology, and infrastructure.
Fantastic. Tell us about your podcast. We want to promote that. Tell us about what you do.
Yeah, for sure. So I host a podcast called The Geoholics. And this is where we talk with surveyors, engineers, technology leaders, and just leaders from all over the world about how, data mapping and reality capture shape the built environment. It's part technical, part storytelling, and part pulling back the curtain on how the world actually gets built.
And this is very important because people don't understand. I mean, here we are in a moment in history where everybody's talking about nation building. And in reality, you start with the surveyors. Think of it. Give us a little bit of the history, because you've got an extensive background in the United States land surveying. George Washington was a land surveyor, correct?
Mm-hmm. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, all were land surveyors before they were presidents. So it's pretty exciting. Yeah, there's a ton of history when it comes to land surveying in the States and around the globe, to be honest. And at its core, surveying is really about establishing, truth on the ground, is what I like to say. And before you can build roads, utilities, cities, or even nations, as you mentioned, you have to know where things actually are and who owns them and how it all fits together. Land survey maps are really the original data layer for any civilization.
And here's the funny thing is we live in Arizona, and if anybody ever drives down the 60 freeway headed towards the Superstition, you see a place, a road, an exit called Meridian. And on one side, it's Maricopa County. On the other side, it's Pinal County. And to the south, you've got a thing called Baseline, a road called Baseline. So tell us why Meridian and Baseline is important for Maricopa County and Pinal. Tell us why that's important.
Oh, yeah, it's vitally important. The original monument where essentially all surveys in the state of Arizona started from is right there by PIR, the racetrack. There's those mountains, small mountains to the east of the track where you can sit and watch races. On top of that mountain is the original point from where all surveys in Arizona started from, and that's at the intersection, like you said, of Meridian and Baseline. It's really, really cool if you ever get a chance to go up there and check it out.
And again, what happens is the surveyors start maps, and once you have maps, then you can have public records of who owns what. It could be a road, a public right-of-way. It could be Jay Jones. It could be anybody. But now you've got a public record, and once you have that public record, you've got a boundary. You've got a piece of land that's 200 feet wide, 300 feet deep, and now you can charge, everybody wait for it, property taxes, because it's based off of the first square. Now, this is important because property taxes are the most secure form of taxation. Most people don't understand that when you're being charged $1 per square foot, that's a set diameter, the diameters of your property, or if you're being assessed for a square footage on your house. These are measurements that we have to have in order to get taxation, and that those taxes pay for roads, bridges, police, schools. These are important, and again, it all starts with that survey.
No question. And over the course of my 30-plus year career, I've had the opportunity to work with teams and projects that touch developing countries. And one of the biggest challenges we consistently see, just like you said, is land tenure and records. In most developing nations, public land records either don't exist, they're incomplete, or aren't accessible to the public. So sometimes boundaries are based in those cases on, oral history, hand-drawn maps, or legacy systems that were never formally recorded. It's a bit of a mess for sure.
And so, for example, Mexico, just to the south of us, the major form of taxation they have is called a VAT, value-added tax. It's a sales tax. That's the most corrupt form of taxation you can get. Because guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what? It's all done in cash. It's all paper money. And again, without having this invisible infrastructure that the surveyors have brought to us, without having that, they can't charge property taxes because they don't know who owns what. There's no records. Yeah. Now, tell us about some of the different third world developing countries that you've worked in. Tell us some stories about some of the projects you've done.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Mexico, and that's kind of where, most of the experience that I've had exists, and this topic that we're talking about in general, it's just a huge issue for nation building in general, without the reliable survey control and the accessible land records, you can't confidently invest, building infrastructure is a challenge. You can't resolve disputes or create long-term economic stability. And that's what this is all about. Surveying isn't just, a technical profession. It's a foundation to governance, property rights, and ultimately trust.
Yeah, and voter registration. We're doing a series of interviews with different companies. They're developing a VOATZ. It's an online voting system where you take a photo of your passport, photo of your driver's license, and then you take a video of making sure that you're a live person. You do a full registration. They cross-check it with the voting records in Arizona or whatever state. But without having maps, you don't have addresses. You don't have 123 East Maple Street. There's no map.
No.
And this is a problem that politicians and societies that are trying to help the poor, trying to help develop, they have not seen the value of the surveys. And that's why I want to promote you guys so much. Now, have you done surveys down in Mexico? Tell us about your experiences in Mexico.
Yeah, a lot of those have been what I like to call virtual surveyors. We have a lot of online resources available to us. Google Earth, for example, is a tool that I use every single day in my career, to be honest with you. It's such an incredible tool. It's a great database. And that's kind of where a lot of these these surveys start in some of these developing countries, is utilizing technology like that. There's so much information available to us online that even before we step foot on the ground and do actual surveys, there's so many different ways that we can prepare to set ourselves up for success, before jumping out and physically doing the survey. So, tons of resources available out there to make our jobs easier.
So we have the technology at our fingertips. A lot of people don't know that the longitude and latitude on Google Maps is kind of relatively accurate. You guys could get started with this, and you can take photos.
Absolutely.
You can do all kinds of different things to get things moving. Now, we've got about 60 seconds left here. Let's get your website. How can people reach you if they want to hear about Geoholics?
Absolutely, yeah. To find the podcast, which to be honest with you, feel like it adds value to anybody, not just surveyors or mappers or geospatial professionals. We talk to surveyors and geospatial professionals from all over the world, and we've been doing that for about 6 years now. The website for the Geoholics is simply thegeoholics.com, or you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, YouTube. We're all over the place. So if you have any interest in anything that we've been talking about here today, please reach out.
Absolutely. Kent, thank you so much. We got the bumper music coming up. Geoholics. Look it up, guys. It's a lot of fun. He's got tremendous content, and this is so educational, so important. Kent, thank you so much. Hey, everybody, we got to do another break here. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back. We got it, Kent. Thank you so much.